Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Big Brother Canada 11 recap podcast for Wednesday night. And here on Rob as a podcast, we have 0 sweater incidents. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me tonight on a special night, not the usual night, even though we haven't done enough to be usual yet, but he is joining us now on a slightly different night than you can expect in the future. It's Kevin Jacobs. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm great. Don't assume that we don't have any sweater incidents tonight. We don't know where everyone's sweaters are from. I'm excited to see if we have one, and I'm excited to be here at a later time than usual, which means if you're looking to watch a tired house guest tonight.
Do you, when you get back from playing Big Brother Canada, do you hear good night house guests in your brain?
Good night house guests every night at whatever time that is you're conditioned, and good morning house guests at whatever time that is you're totally conditioned. There's like jet lag. There was full jet lag coming back.
There you go. Also joining us tonight is Pooya. How you doing, Pooya?
I'm doing well. You know, typically this is my morning. I'm still awake. It's still early. I have a coffee sitting here. Old habits die hard, Taran. You know, I used to play the feeds roulette. Are they going to come on? Should I have the coffee? I just have it now. Might as well. You never know.
You shouldn't have had it before, and you definitely shouldn't have it now.
It's fine. We'll be good. It'll be great. And it's not decaf, just to clarify. It is full calf.
All right. Well, just so everyone knows, drinking caffeine before you sleep is a terrible idea.
Yeah, but I'm not sleeping yet. And also, podrenalin is a real thing. After a podcast, I'm wired for like a couple hours without the coffee.
Podcasting before sleeping, also a terrible idea, but yeah. What can you do? Finally with us tonight is Sasha. How you doing, Sasha?
You know, as a woman of influence, I'm just so happy to be here with all of you. And yeah, that was all the nice things I will say about BBCAN. Can't wait.
All right. You BB can't?
Oh,
wait.
100%. All of us BB can't is the problem.
Yes. A woman of influence, as Zach is a man of influence.
I enjoy being a man of influence.
Yeah.
Who doesn't enjoy being a man of influence?
Zach, because he's actually not. If you have to say it, you're not it.
Okay. All right. I don't think that that vibes well with the SVP of the startup. That's I think most SVPs probably say it more than they are it.
I thought you were talking about Silicon Valley Bank, and I was like, well, we know how that flopped.
Yeah, we talked about that. All right, we are here to talk about the Wednesday night episode of Big Brother Canada 11. And I think this episode was at least better than yesterday's. But unfortunately, that's not saying a whole lot.
It's a pretty low bar.
It was a very low bar
for this damn show.
We come back from the nominations, and, you know, we had Dan Zabo and Anika put up on the block, and we find out that Anika was told that she was going to be a pawn in the overall plan to backdoor John Michael, who is almost entirely absent from this entire episode prior to being nominated at the end of it.
Yeah, especially if tomorrow does turn out to be his swan song. You've really, wasn't the whole point of not having someone go out the first night so that we get to see them at least a little bit? Doesn't matter if he's still going to go tomorrow and that's all we get from him is Thursday's episode. Sad to see.
Yes. Kevin, I'm seeing in the chat, is that the puzzle from Thursday's episode behind you?
I don't know what that is.
You just have a random head with a crown.
This is just Jillian's got like really unique taste.
Oh, okay,
and
interesting.
She just saw this while we were out, and I was like, "Yeah, like,
a winner's find."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me just quickly get this out of the way here.
Nice.
Yeah, that's.
No, I don't think it's.
You don't think that's? Yeah,
No.
it just kind of it looks it looks pretty similar to my eye.
No,
I think
no.
Albanian like altar or something like a statue, that they give to people they love. I think that might be it.
That might be it.
Yeah.
That might be that.
All right. Well, I don't think Renee will appreciate even just the resemblance of that. As she's pretty worried. She's pretty worried being on the block here. And she's no longer saying bootay, but she is still saying booty. So whether it's bootay or booty, she's worried about her booty being on the block.
She says like early in the episode, she's like, taking me out might make sense. It would mean no blood on anyone's hands. It's actually like it's almost like the most blood on the HOH's hands. Like they nominate two people and they both stay. That's terrible.
Right.
Yeah, you want to get
Agreed.
rid of at least one of the two people that you had to piss off.
Yeah, or the person you're backdoored for no reason. Any of the three.
Well, we don't have to go that far.
Sorry, we can't go there yet. I'm not there yet.
You're not ready?
No, the anger meter can't be at
Let
100.
it build. Let it
6
build.
Wow.
minutes
Well,
Give it time.
speaking of the
Please.
anger meter, Sasha, how did you feel about our proper introduction to the two broy dudes, the bromance of the century, Zach and Ty, are ride and die?
Emphasis on maybe the second part for me, but I have to say, like, do you ever, I don't know about y'all, but as a former bully, like when I see certain people, I was like, I think I could like
Former?
make them cry. Very former, okay. And Zach, 100%, like I feel like let me in that damn house. It was like 2 minutes. I think I could get him to quit, and I think we'll all, it'll help. Just let me in.
I mean,
Please.
it doesn't seem like it would be that hard for Ty either. Just wear a sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I am wearing a sweater, but Ty I
Boom.
find hot would be my problem. So it'd be the
Sasha.
long game with him. Listen, so it'd be the long game. Like I'd breadcrumb him enough, and then he goes down. I'm just tired.
Did you say
of the
anger meter was
bros.
just starting? We're not.
Yeah.
This is just the
I don't
beginning.
know where we're about to head.
Listen, I'm just tired of the bros, and why are they in the same room? Ugh. Okay, I know. Anyway, yeah, it's cute. I guess good for them. They're making it happen for themselves. We just don't want it. I don't want it.
Well, they want it. They love it. That's they're vibing. They're ride or dies. They feel good about, they both love to be influential men, and here they are. And you know who recognizes it? Renee. She says, I think Zach, he's in charge of this place. I gotta go campaign to him. So Pooya, we see Renee make a campaign to Zach.
When you figure something like that out, of course you got to shoot your shot. You got to go to talk to the person. It's just so funny to me watching Zach talk to people. And I have a hard time sometimes looking at it and thinking, well, I have all the information, so obviously I can see through this. But I'd like to think I could see through it in the house as well, in a way, because if someone's that influential and they're constantly trying to tell you they're not that influential and that, you shouldn't do this, but I don't do this. I'm not really talking. I'm not really doing all that stuff, but I feel like you should really be doing this thing. It's see-through. It's so transparent to me. And the best part is knowing how confident he feels as he's saying, like, as he's doing all this in the back of it, he's like, yeah, you did that. You did that, you king. We're so good. We're so good at this game. He's building himself up. So to know that makes it extra funny for me.
He doesn't have
You
to
said
build
that,
himself
Pooya.
up when, everyone's
You're a smart businessman.
Yes, very.
building him up
Yeah.
themselves.
Getting a steady supply of ego to munch on. He's really feeling himself, and other people are gassing him up too.
Kevin, how did you feel about the campaign here from Renee?
I think it brought out one of the things that we're going to see a lot in this episode, which is that in week one, you just don't know someone and you write your own narrative. So Renee suggests that there is a boy alliance. Like she puts that out there. I don't necessarily love the head-on approach. I'd rather kind of dance around it and see who's talking to who. And usually your assumptions are right. But for Zach to leave and be like, oh, Renee's a genius and tell people that, like, no one, I've said this before. You're all stupid week one. None of you are geniuses. And writing this kind of novel about how somebody is so smart this early is just, it's incorrect. So I think it's a good move of her to like go and start pushing on that. Didn't get the results.
Not quite. Now Zach is going to take this conversation, and this is the guy who had a conversation with JM, where JM said, "Yeah, I'd go after guys," and went, "Oh, this guy is A, in love with me, and B, needs to go," and decided to, as a man of influence,
I enjoy being a man of influence.
Decided to influence Santina into targeting JM. Not only targeting JM, but targeting JM in the way that he wanted her to target JM, which is through backdoor. And then has one conversation with Renee, and now he's changed his mind. Now Renee needs to go. Scratch the whole JM thing. Actually, I need to influentially mansplain how Renee needs to go instead. And he's going to get Ty on board. But Rob, at this point, who has already been a little bit wary of Zach, is like, oh, hold on here. I like Renee. And I mean, I was fine having you do all this work for me when it was something that I didn't care about. But I want Renee to stay. So the alarm bells are ringing.
Yeah, I mean, man of easily influenced, though, right? You just described
Right.
two different conversations that really led him to change his mind real quick. I did love seeing the pushback from Rob. I feel like, week one, it's so easy to just be like, let me just yes and this dummy and go through with whatever. I feel like standing your ground here is pretty good because also with week one, if the right wave hits the right tide, it'll just take over. So to even put a little bit of spanner in, like, I don't know about that, dude. Let's calm things down here. That's good. And honestly, this seems to be one of the Rob and Ty element of this bro-liance, this bro-mageddon. It's like the only thing I can hold on hope for to not get a complete steamroll situation. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, Rob v. Zach win. That's all I care about. Because all of us, right? And I think people in the house are like, oh, Zach, in his own alliance, is like, oh, Renee, like, you're going too hard. Like, chill out. Zach, we don't need to do this, maybe. But Worms for Brains, HOH, is like, yeah, maybe you're right. Like, but what is it about him that has snowed her this much? Because she thinks Rob is cute, right? Like, it's not even that. So I have to know.
He's a very
Like,
smart
what?
businessman.
You're a smart
This is so
businessman.
embarrassing for my
Yes,
girl.
very.
No, she's not my girl. It's so embarrassing for her.
It's obviously going to fall apart for him. He's so in front. He's telling people what to do directly. It's week one. Like, you do not want this. I don't know why we're worried about the steamroll. He says directly to the HOH what he wants. She's already nervous about him. Rob in his own alliance is already nervous about him. Like, this is not, it's not lasting.
Yeah. Zach's. He's gonna bring it to Santina. She's a little skeptical of this whole idea. We had seen on the drops that there was some tension with Rob and Zach and Ty. It's pretty clear at this point that this is the start of that. In particular, Ty talked about how Rob seemed to want to get closer to Santina. It seems to me like they were frustrated that what Rob wanted, which was for Renee to stay, is what Santina wanted, and them being close meant they felt like Rob is having more influence on Santina than them, which is clearly something that they are not pleased about. Speaking of Rob and people not liking his association with Santina, we are going to see Shania, who, from the perspective at least of the edit, doesn't really have a relationship with Rob at this point, but is hoping that there could be one. Is going to notice that he's getting a facial from her for an hour in the HOH room, and she's not very happy about that, Sasha.
Stand up, girl. Can't. Like, Rob's hot. I know, but no. Okay. Why? And again, we don't know, right? Like, we don't know what their relationship is.
Mm-hmm.
according to what we have seen, no, girl. Like, we can't have these boys put clown noses on us like this. And the fact that she's crying in public, right? Like, go to the bathroom where maybe there's one camera that can see you, but I would like no one to see me cry over a boy I have known for 2 seconds.
Yeah, especially then when he rolls up.
I would act like I didn't know him. I'd be like, what? What happened? Where were you? Oh, so nice to see you. They can't let him see you sweat, girl. Stop this.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. We did see on some of these drops that he did talk about Shania. Rob specifically said, I'm trying not to flirt with her because I don't want to lead her on. And also kind of said she's not really my vibe. Particularly like the because Jonathan was like, it's so cool, you know, the way that she like owns up to the farting and burping and stuff. And Rob was like, yeah, very cool. Not really my vibe though. And Jonathan was like, I agree. Also not my vibe, but cool.
No, please.
Well, wasn't that part of the conversation of like, you know, she's comfortable with us because she's doing that in front of us? Wasn't that part of the sentiment? It's been 6 days. It's been 6 days. How are there tears involved so far? And you know, we've joked about the tie thing, which it's been 6 days. Y'all need to relax. No one in there has that good a game. I'm just putting that out there. No one is sweeping you off your feet like that in 6 days. I refuse. I
mean,
It's also
have you seen him?
He is handsome.
He is. No lies there.
It is week 1 though, and they're probably sleep deprived. Like, it's a new environment. You're living with new roommates from across Canada. Like, I don't mind her crying and actually doing it in public. Why not earn a couple brownie points?
Farm some emotions. Yeah, farm some support.
Yeah. Why not leverage that emotional brain a little bit?
There you go. Well, it's okay. Don't worry, audience. One showmance is down, but another still thrives.
Yay.
It's Claudia and Ty. And we get some, I can't even be sarcastic, disturbing close-ups of her hand on his leg multiple times.
Describe disturbing. What do you mean by that, Taran?
It felt, I don't know about you, but it felt uncomfortable. It felt like I should not be watching.
It was kind of hot, right?
What?
Is that what you mean? Like, it was like this shouldn't be on
That's
TV?
not what I meant.
Okay,
Apparently,
what do you
though,
mean?
Kevin's taking it in a different direction.
I started the episode being like, oh, this is a nice potential showmance. And by the end, I was like, this is sickening. It was just a straight down.
She started with, I have boy problems of my own before it went to that segment. So I knew it was going to be bad. Like, there's no way. Because if a boy makes you feel like it's boy problems 6 days in, I refuse to think that's cute. I refuse.
Yeah.
The hand was on the knee, right?
I have nothing against hand on knee. I think from a distance, it was perfectly fine. It's how ridiculously close up it got that made me feel like
the zoom. You had an issue with the zooming.
It was far too much of a zoom. All right. I feel like I could have looked at the cells that make up his knee. It was too much.
You want like a medium shot?
Well, that is the biggest indicator of how much they're trying. Because last night's episode was also a zoom on Claudia's finger caressing Ty's finger like this.
Also weird.
Yeah, they're really trying to sell this, and that's all they've got is a couple like hands on the knee and strokes of the finger, and that's enough. Apparently.
Look, everyone, look. I mean, it's
Taran,
luckily for you, it's not in focus, but oh boy,
in your own time,
it's
Taran.
giving wiki hands. You're gonna end up on like people are gonna sell that.
4 stars.
I hope you know this. 4 stars because too blurry. Besides that, 10 on 10. Oh my god, we just want COVID rules looks like 6 feet apart or 3 meters apart at all times.
Just the camera angle needs to be 6 feet apart. I don't need to feel like my head is right up at his knee.
Why? I mean, listen, enjoyed that part.
When they inevitably make Big Brother VR, this would be rough to be a part of for sure. It's like you're too there.
Not Big
unfortunately,
Brother VR.
I think that's
It'll
the other
happen.
direction that Big Brother Canada's heading.
Some franchises move backwards, some move forwards.
Yeah. All right. Well, this
Taran
is
Armstrong.
Oh God. There's the
Look.
alt account.
Look, this is but just the beginning of our saga for Claudia and Ty, because he is going to tell her that Renee is the target, and she's like, "Ooh, okay, didn't love that. Didn't love that." Now, what's interesting is that I assumed that he was just completely keeping her in the dark all week with the JM stuff. But this actually implies that at least for part of the week, he was being honest with her because the plan had changed briefly. But ultimately, he does not ever actually tell her about the JM move. So, we'll see.
I feel like it's very hard to have a showmance and not have them be your number one. Like some people do it, and it just doesn't. It doesn't feel right.
It's very strange. It doesn't seem like there's much of a purpose to not letting them know. Like, it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm not going to tell my showmans about this secret ally that I have because I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. I don't want them to know all my cards. And then if they're smart, that they could, pull one over on me. It's another thing to be like, yeah, I'm not going to tell my showmans about a plan that half the house knows about that she doesn't, for no good reason.
Well, there is the best reason, but we find that out later.
Right. Sorry, there was a reason.
Yeah.
A major key reason.
But before that, we do have a veto competition. And Kevin, this one took me back to the Final Four veto that you competed in.
Okay, so this was the Final Four veto last year was a sewer maze basically rolling around on your back, and they've taken this concept and taken the sort of classic BB going from one side to another carrying a liquid. I thought this was really cool. I've actually been really impressed by the production design of these challenges this year. I haven't seen it talked about much. Like even the first week, the two both had like different levels. I thought this was really cool to look at. I will say a challenge like this is very much designed for a strong dude to win.
100%.
I was screaming in pain throughout this when I was going through that motion in a maze. It's like very much like abs and like pushing with your legs. And you could see even just when Ty and Sabo were just nearing filling up their bucket, like halfway through or whatever that was, they were exhausted. This thing is really hard.
Yeah, like I personally think it would be more fun to play this than a normal like slip and slide as a player. But as a viewer, I felt like I wasn't getting as much. Like watching somebody slide back and forth is just not as interesting to me as watching them like scramble, like trying to maintain their balance and ultimately fall. Like the falling, like it's probably a safer comp this one. So I think that's a good thing. But
and they get helmets. Which
that's big.
There you go.
Is it safer? You're pushing feet first with your head. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
But there's nothing to like stop you, right?
I feel
nothing
like
to hit you.
The velocity of the slide is probably not as damaging as a fall would be, even if you did hit your head. I would think, but it's. I think visually it just didn't quite work. And I think they kind of saw that given how fast they kind of moved through that segment. And then even like the throwing of the whatever, the slop, the oatmeal, you also like didn't really get a sense of who was doing well beyond just like Dan telling us that he wasn't doing well. So I feel like it wasn't super high on this comp overall, even though it did look cool, like the aesthetic of it. And then the biggest thing for me, as Kevin, you pointed out, is that nobody else came even remotely close.
No.
I just think that like competitions like this, it would be one thing if this was like the one competition all season. that was this heavily favored for, that kind of body type. But we all know that this is one of many that are coming, and so I feel like we gotta be moving in the other direction. But ultimately, we see the Ty is going to win this, and
Surprise.
there you go. Yes, the biggest, muscliest guy happened to also win this competition. Dan did put up a fight, but he apparently is just no good at throwing slop.
Doesn't have good aim with slop, yeah. Which that was, to me, everything you said, Kevin, don't get it twisted. I know I would have a tough time with. My abs will not ab, my arms will not arm. But the idea of touching that like clumped up slop oatmeal thing to toss, that is more horrifying to me.
See, I actually thought that looked fun.
What? You just said you don't even want
it's
clothes
like
up
trying
on
to throw
hands.
A snowball.
That is not snowball texture. You have, please.
Slop gets a bad name. People it's fine. You can make it into a ball and throw it. Like, I agree. It's kind of fun.
But it's like oatmeal, right? I'm saying the texture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to touch oatmeal when I throw it.
Why not? You put it in your mouth.
Well, it's like when I put cereal, in milk, I enjoy it a lot. But if I'm touching that soggy cereal, I don't want to feel that. Unless it's
well, I wouldn't want to eat soggy cereal either.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'd be fine handling non-soggy cereal.
Oh, of course. But this seemed soggy-ish is my problem. It seemed a little bit like ishy.
Ishy?
Yeah.
It was definitely ishy.
Yeah.
All that ish.
I just felt like it kept going, and that it could have ended at either or, and that's like, why did they have to go to the oatmeal? Because the oatmeal was fun and the sliding was fun. I just felt like it didn't need to be so long. Like the whole comp, I mean. That's the only thing. Besides that, whatever. We know veto days are going to be comp heavy and they're going to love to show their comp. So it is what it is. It's just, I was like, okay, like wrap it up. Like we know a strong guy is going to win.
Yeah. I will say that this was kind of a weird one where they started the competition like halfway through a segment, which is not how they normally do it. They'd normally come back from commercial and go straight to veto. But instead, we went straight from Claudia's hand stroking Ty's knee to hey, it's veto time.
No picks. I mean, it's the first veto of the season because I know they've done this where they've skipped the picks, but I expected us to see the way the picks are done at least the first week. So it really was jarring to just slide on it into this competition.
Yeah. So speaking of the way picks are done, I honestly wasn't even gonna bother, but before we started this podcast, Pooya was like, "Have you seen it yet?" Because it's not up for me. So I reloaded the page and I checked it out. The way they're doing the veto draw, I already tried explaining it to these three, and they
We
did
still
not
don't
get it. So I apologize if this makes zero sense. But basically, they have this like table in the middle of the room where there's a big like board, like a board game of Clue essentially on it, and it's like if Clue was the Big Brother house. So it's got all the rooms like shaped out with the hallways, and like I think the rooms might be labeled, they might not be labeled, but it's basically the Big Brother house, like it's a Clue board game. And then they have these big game pieces that are planted in each room, and they look like these giant like golden pawn pieces. And so basically, I believe how this works is that instead of like, putting your hand into a bag or spinning a wheel, you're just picking a room to pick a piece from. So Dan was like, I like the kitchen. Let me grab the kitchen piece. He picks up the piece from the kitchen, turns it upside down, rips off the thing, and underneath it says Daniel. And so Daniel has been chosen to play in the veto. Then Anika goes, she gets one that says house guest choice, and she ultimately chooses Ty to play in the veto. So that's the really strange way that they seem to be doing the veto draw this season.
It's on brand for the murder mystery of it all. So it's like, in the kitchen with the whatever, it's this person. But then why not show it if it's part of your theme? Again, at least for me, it's at least the first week. Like when we got the wheel spin, I was buzzing. I love the wheel. The wheel looked phenomenal. By week 5, I was over it. It's fine. But it's week 1. Can we see this ridiculous thing so Taran doesn't have to explain it? I finally get it, Taran. It makes more sense now. But
You did it.
I had practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually was kind of into this. I veto draw to me is waste of time most of the time. I feel like I don't need a veto draw.
You want to see more stroking of the knee.
Exactly. I want
No,
more
he
knee
wants to see
strokes.
Hello
I want
Fresh
more Hello
content.
Fresh.
Oh,
I
there
want
it
more Circle K. But I'm fine with skipping the veto draw, especially because we got the most relevant bit from it, which was Anika in the diary room saying, so I'm kind of pulling for Ty because I picked Ty. He said he would use the veto on me. That's all. I mean, I think Big Brother edits in the US tend to be better. But one thing I don't like that they do is that they really make a meal of the conversations about like, will you promise to use the veto on me? I don't know if I should use the veto. Should I choose this person to use the veto? And then the whole veto ceremony or veto draw, which takes like 5 minutes. And it's like, I hope this person gets chosen. Oh, they didn't get chosen. Oh, they did get chosen. Oh, who should I choose? And it's just so much wasted time. I'm way more into this.
Okay,
So.
I think I can get. I
Good
see
point.
your
That's a good point. Yeah.
44 minutes of television. Like if you need to cut that, I'll live. You know.
Yeah, got that. All right, so Ty wins the veto, and Rob is going to push harder against this Renee plan. And it seems as though Santina is on board. I don't want to do the Renee plan. I want to do the JM plan. And Zach, former man of influence, is not pleased.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the person that influenced them to go JM was former Zach. This is new Zach, and you should always listen to the more current Zach because the old version's a little outdated. So if you don't listen to new Zach, old Zach gonna be. If you listen to old Zach, new Zach's gonna be very mad. You don't want to see new Zach mad.
Yeah, this is speaking about like how much longevity do we think a player like Zach has? I think that it's not a good sign that at the very first sign of somebody not doing what he explicitly told them to do, he is like, no, this is no good. We got to do something about this. There's no hope adapting here happening with Zach. Kevin, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, he's fun to watch. He's fun to hate. Like that's what he's there for.
I don't think it's fun.
I think if you lead into it, it might be fun. But it's even like it's not a fun. It's not like a villain that you're like, oh yeah, they're so sneaky. It's a villain that everybody's like, stop it, stop doing that, stop reacting like that. That's not appropriate. And I feel like that's for me. It's a little bit fun. Like I like his little tantrum.
Yeah, I feel like to me, I've clearly not been a fan of his from the minute we saw that bio, and I have not looked back. That being said, if you go look at any of my tweets from BBCAN11, 80% is about Zach. And they know exactly why they've casted this guy. They knew exactly what they were going to get from him, and it's the stop being so confident and full of yourself and be I don't even. I'm gonna end up doing what Sasha's done. I'm gonna get angry. I'll have to save it. But they know what they were doing ultimately. Like if he wasn't here, this week would be more dull. There's something at least I can poke at, and I'm into that.
But he has too much power. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't be dumb and in this position. No, he like runs Santina. That's just what it is.
Listen, I feel like plenty of dumb people in the world got more influence than they should. You know, it happens.
And I hate it. That's the point. Like, but I enjoy a villain that's like actually like I'm a villain. You know, I'm gonna get their ass. I love it. I am all for you. I'm a Slytherin. I get it. But when it's this guy, that's there's undercurrents of just misogyny and all of that. That's why I think I can't get behind him, because if you're just gonna be mean, I'm into it. I love it. But I don't like when, saying like JM is in love with me, we gotta get him out. Like, it's stuff like that I don't enjoy. Versus someone like, I mean, even you, Kevin, right? When you would be like, these idiots, like, I'm gonna drag them. That's fun. I want that. But I don't want like someone that's like, oh, it's gross. And I don't want to put a lot on him either. It's not right, because I'm making assumptions. Then there are no life feeds, but it's just the undercurrents are not it for me.
Totally
100%.
fair. Imagine how much fun you're going to have in the week when his downfall happens. You're gonna, right?
Delicious.
Yes. No lies there. I'll agree with you on that.
I like someone in the chat who said something I feel is like, it's going to be a little results oriented for me. They said, if he goes out soon, then yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah.
If he wins, not fun. And I could get behind that. I could have that little bit of feeling for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, is he the Kyle Moore or is he the Kyle Moore?
Oh, Lord.
This one or this one?
Ask Pooya.
I mean, they both lost, but I don't know. I didn't want to come up with another name.
That's fair.
So, part 2 of the Ty and Claudia saga. Something's wrong. He's holding back. What's going on? Why isn't he talking to Claudia? It's fine. Nothing. What's happening? What's going on? What's going on, Ty? Okay.
He's not even looking. Like, let a man ever talk to me and not look me in the eye when I'm being nice enough to spend even 1 minute of my time like asking you what's wrong. Oh my God. But Claudia, I get it. Okay. Like, you can't see the red flags when they're all red. So I understand. But my God, like, I cannot imagine sitting there and being like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And he's like, nothing. And if someone told me I'm trying to see what kind of a player you are before I tell you what I'm thinking, goodbye. Have a good day.
Yeah, for me, it was like seeing this second interaction, like already I was like, this is ridiculous. This is like this is so childish. And then somehow it got so much worse when you find out why.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm naive because when he said, I'm trying to see what kind of player you are, I thought like in the game, like you're trying to like not give out information. And then he brings up, well, what sweater are you going to wear? Oh, that game, that play, a sweater, it's day 6. Also, let me speak on this, okay? As someone who has had many of his hoodies stolen by his now wife, Liana, when we were first dating, if you don't take my hoodies, I'm living. I've got all the hoodies now. Like, I'm not mad at that. It's day 6. You're in a house with 16 people. Some people gave away their bear shirt to 12 people in the house. You didn't see anyone sulking, okay? This is a hoodie in day 6, Ty. I'm going to need you to stop this petty nonsense, please. Okay? Please.
Kevin, how do you like not tell people off when you're in these situations? Because it's still a game. Like, I know I'm getting voted out first. I'm Asian and I am gonna yell at people, right? So it's a wrap for me. But I just have to know, how do you like not go off? Like,
for me, I was playing a game.
Right.
So everything that happened, for good or bad, was filtered through that. It's a lot easier said than done. And there are weird areas where you're like, okay, like I need to just explode right now. But I did the exact opposite of what's emotionally healthy and filtered everything through a game lens. That's the answer.
And that's how you won, man.
It's just, I just could not believe what I was seeing. Like, this is the guy, and you haven't seen as much of it in the episodes, but let me tell you, on these daily drops, this guy is walking around this house like his family owns it.
Yeah.
Like this is my dad's place, and you are all just living in it. I control what happens. I am the guy. And this same guy is like, what about this sweater situation? Like, dude, come on. You've known this girl for what, like 7 days? And her wearing the sweater of another guy is apparently like this is the Hindenburg. Like, you've named it a disaster in your brain. Like, the sweater situation? Like, are you for real? He's like, what kind of player are you trying to be? How does it make me look? And then he says, the fact I'm even having this conversation with you is growth on my part, which is so sad.
But that's when I would say like the only growth is your beard in this damn house. Because what do you mean growth? And someone in the chat just said he's a Cancer. And if he's a Cancer men, it all checks out. I get it. I'm back on Team Claudia. They'll just have you in a blender. I understand.
I feel like if I'm Claudia in this moment, I mean, she would never say this because it would get misconstrued. Put the Kevin Jacobs up. Where's the ring? Is there a ring on my finger? No, it's been 6 days. I can wear everyone's sweater if I would like. And honestly, at the end of the day, it was probably just a cozy sweater in a cold house. Like, is it really that deep? It's not that deep. This isn't an 80s movie. This isn't a Letterman jacket that you gave someone. Like, this is ridiculous to me, Ty. Come on.
I like that, Pooya. Make it official. Make it official. Because I actually think for Claudia, showman tie, great move, great game move. Forget the let's throw the emotions out the window. Amazing. He won the first veto. He's a big target. He's with these guys. Awesome for her. Make it official.
Yeah. Listen, if a person you've known for 7 days wearing a dude's sweater is enough to, like, you're so fragile that is what sets you off. There's really a lot more growth to do, especially as the guy who, by the way, on these drops is talking to Santina about like, yeah, I got Claudia. I'll just use her as a number and then drop her when I need to. You know, not a big deal.
You know, at Jewish summer camp.
Yes.
When you would be like, you know, dating someone or whatever, we used to talk and say, okay, it's one day together is like 7 days in the real world. I do think there is something where 1 day in the BBCAN house
for sure
feels like a lot longer.
Absolutely.
True. But if we use that conversion, it's still been about a month, right? Like, it's still not that deep.
And
it's
also,
still too early for Sweatergate.
It's not a full 7 days. I don't think they've kissed at this point. They've literally just rubbed knees for probably 2 days.
Not rub knees.
So,
what are these, the Duggars? Like, I'm sure they must have made some moves.
No, if they had, they would have shown.
We know when they first kissed on the drop. We know from the drops when they have that. So.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's happened yet. So, you know, in terms of their quote unquote relationship, it's been about probably 2 days, which, yeah, sure. Let's like Big Brother time it. Let's say that's 2 weeks. It's still
too early.
She can wear whatever sweater she wants, dude.
Would y'all care?
Be comfortable.
I would absolutely not care. Like, it's in my eyes, that is so ridiculous. The idea that you'd be like, you're wearing another man's sweater.
I think I would laugh.
You can only wear my sweaters. Do you understand what this means to me? Do you understand how this makes me look that you're wearing another man's sweater? People are going to think my sweaters are not good enough for you. Okay?
Clip this, please.
That was Terry. That's been your best performance so far. I love that. That was great.
You killed it.
Yeah, it's not that deep to me. I don't know if that says something about me, but it isn't that deep to me.
I think I'm so I don't know. Let me preface this. I don't approve of Sweatergate whatsoever.
Okay.
I do remember I used to look very carefully. Kyle Moore had like his brand sweaters in there, and I used to look at who was wearing them, and I'd be like, okay, like this is telling. Like, it went in the notebook, you know, and I couldn't disagree more with where he's coming from. I do see his point. I couldn't disagree more though.
Right, like you're saying game wise, if you saw someone wearing that sweater, you thought, oh, that's a tighter
take it out.
allegiance.
No, and it's an
Yeah,
indication
sure.
that they could be close if they're sharing clothing, right? But like also
It goes on the mind
like
map. Maybe
having
we'll connect it
conversations
later.
is also an indication that they could be, like
Yeah.
that's sort of
That's going on the
I see
notepad
what you're
too.
saying, yes, but I think once you cross the line to this is a situation, that's when it becomes ridiculous.
I'm really happy that was in the episode.
All right. So Anika wants to make sure that Ty is going to use the veto on her. And he tries to get from her. We actually saw this on the drop. This is actually, I think, maybe the first scene from the drops that we have seen in the episode. Like I was like watching the episode, I was Leonardo DiCaprio in that meme, like, oh, that's the thing we saw. That's the one.
What are your thoughts on that, Taran? I mean, we've gotten about 12 hours of footage on the dailies. How do you feel about a couple of those minutes also being crossed over into the episode itself?
I don't know why. I'm more interested in seeing the stuff I've already seen. Like I talked about this on stream, but like I haven't experienced an episode of Big Brother apart from like, some of the very early season episodes where we haven't had feeds yet. But for the most part, like not since I was, a young child have I watched episodes of Big Brother seeing the majority of content, that stuff that I hadn't seen before.
Right.
And in my mind, I've always kind of wondered, like, I wonder how if I would like it more or less, because I experience it in a certain way. And so far, Big Brother Canada has taught me that I absolutely like it less. That I don't know that I actually like the show Big Brother, because it's not that good when you don't have a more full sort of appreciation for what's happening. I think that like being able to see these scenes, especially in the context of what is happening outside of them, just like works better for me at least. I'm also like a person that loves watching adaptations, and I love having read the book and then watching the adaptation of the thing. So that could be part of it too. But yeah, I mean, I think that especially if it's important and it's a, an interesting conversation, like, yeah, please put it in.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things. It's also in a way for me, kind of not really. Let me use my words wisely here. It kind of validates that, okay, this daily, this moment mattered more or will matter more because we're going to see a little bit other stuff maybe wrapped around it. So that's also a good thing to see. Whereas it'd be easy to start feeling like, is there anything here that's worthy or plays into the storyline that they're trying to give the rest of the world? Because obviously, ultimately, the daily is for a smaller subset of people than the general public that are all going to consume this 44-minute episode.
Yeah, I feel like it's validating, right? That, what I'm watching matter.
Yeah. And just I think part of it too, and this again might be more of a me thing or even more of like a super fanny kind of thing, but like I'm just so skeptical of edits in general. It's a problem I also have with Survivor sometimes, where it's like I don't really trust what it's showing me. So if it's showing me something I know I can trust because I've seen it before in a less edited context, then I'm like, okay, I'm into this. I'm watching this. It matters. When I'm watching something that's like, should I do this or should I do this? It's like this means nothing. You're literally just stalling for time until we see the decision that's made, right? So I think that's another part of why it's like, seeing something like this, knowing that this was a conversation that was actually had, that actually seemed to matter in the moment, makes me feel like, okay, let me pay attention to this again because this was interesting. But that's where I'm at. Ty, it is a weird conversation because Ty is very like cagey about whether he's going to use the veto on her. So just to clear this up, so Anika asked Ty if he was willing to use it on her. He said yes. That's why she picked him to play in the veto. He then wins the veto. This created a whole situation for Ty because he hadn't even been chosen to play in the veto before agreeing to use it on Anika, and then told people like Renee, who was currently on the block, yeah, sorry, if I play and win the veto, I'm not going to use it on you. I'm going to use it on Anika instead because she asked me and I told her I would. And Renee was like, what the hell? Why would you do that? But then it all comes to fruition. It happens. And now that he's won, he's like, I'll probably use it on you, Anika. Let me just talk to some people first. I got to get the okay from Santina. I got to make sure that it's all cool. And you got to trust me. You'd be safe either way. Just so you know, even if I didn't use the veto, you would be completely fine. So don't worry about that. It's just like, well, why are you putting her through the ringer here? Like you planned on using the veto the whole time.
It's so unnecessary. You know, part of me feels like, and the more and more we've seen more content with them, because of the way Zach is so out front and obviously the one we're all looking at and talking about, I think Ty is low-key making some bad moves here and there as well, but we're not talking about him as much because Zach is so distracting in that department already. It's like he's number one by a mile, and then Ty's here, but Ty's still making blunders, I feel like.
And this is what I'm trying to point out when we talk about JM. And again, JM hasn't really been in this episode, so he's not been a huge topic of conversation so far. But we talked about it last night a lot, where, I talked about how, yes, we saw JM say to Zach, I'd be willing to go after the boys, which, yeah, shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, we know, who have watched feeds before, that it's often much more complicated than that. And we watched last season of Big Brother US with what happened to Taylor. And one of the main things that we tried pointing out during that season, and something that she pointed out herself, was that sure, you could interpret some of her actions as mistakes in the game, quote unquote. But one of the major differences is that she does not have the luxury of being able to make any kind of small mistake, whereas other players in the game get to make all kinds of massive mistakes left and right
for free,
and they're still in a fine situation, and we're not going to be ragging on them like, oh, look at them taking themselves out of the game in the first week. What dummies. And I think this is like a very key example of that, where like you can say, JM, he trusted the wrong person. He shouldn't have trusted Zach. He shouldn't have said that to Zach because Zach was actually with the guys. If Zach's not with the guys, it's not a mistake anymore. But he was, and it was a miscalculation, and that was a mistake. On the other hand, you have Ty talking bad about potential HOH candidates before they've even played for the HOH yet. You have, Ty doing this with Anika when it comes to, the veto and whether he's going to use it or not. You have Zach running around left and right, being so obvious about things, influencing Santina and bragging about it that he got her to put up JM, and then changing his mind, trying to convince her to go in the other direction. Like massive errors in judgment left and right. You have like all kinds of players are making all kinds of mistakes all the time. The difference is who gets punished for it. And that's where we're seeing players like JM, yet another, LGBTQ Asian player, facing the consequences very early on. So that's,
and even
that.
Anika, right? Like I have dragged her as well for not maybe being the best player, but like let these kinds of folks be mediocre. Like we, as a woman, as a person of color, we don't have to constantly be perfect to show up in these shows, because other folks like Zach get to not be perfect and still have perceived power through it all. And Anika's still bad, and I do wish that she would wake up, because JM going right around and being like, no one's talking to us. And then none of these geniuses are like, maybe we should do something about that and band together. So yes, and where it's just, Anika is so frustrating, especially in that conversation with Ty, where I understand what she was trying to do, but I don't like that she's giving him so much leeway and pressuring him at the same time. Like, I don't know how you can be bad and bad at this. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have the one JM segment in the episode. He's gonna go boop, little tickle on Santina, but she doesn't laugh. She's not ticklish, I guess. No. She is ticklish. She just turns it on or off. And right away, I'm like, huh? First of all, just before we get into anything else, are you ticklish? If you can turn it on or off, can you even really say that you're ticklish, Kevin?
Yeah, I think there's something there where you just know if it's somebody you like, they're gonna get your tickles. And if it's somebody you don't like, they're not gonna get your tickles. That's just the way the body works.
You're not wrong, right? Because if it's someone I'm not affiliated with or I'm not close to, tries to tickle me, I'm like, hey, cut that out, stop that. But then if Liana comes through, yeah, she'll get a couple in. I might laugh a little bit because the guard's down, right? It's all about the guard with the tickle.
I don't know. See, I feel like a necessary component of declaring yourself ticklish is that there's nothing you can do about it. Ticklishness is akin to helplessness. You can't stop yourself from being tickled apart from like physically stopping the person from tickling you. So I think that like if you don't like the person, you're going to stop them from tickling you because you don't want them to tickle you, versus a person you like, you'd be like less likely to push them away as much. But the process of being tickled is an involuntary reaction, no?
No, I feel like I'm pretty ticklish, but if it's someone that again I don't like and they're tickling me, I don't think I would give them the satisfaction of laughing. So I'd be able to probably firm it and hold it down. Whereas again, I feel like your guard is way lower when it's someone you're very close to or you like, and they go in and you know you let the laughs come out.
I have a different reflex. When somebody tickles me who I don't like, I have to say, if someone I liked was tickling me, I might be ticklish. Like I have to let them know in the moment that I'm not ticklish because
Shoot them down.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like when I was a kid, even if it was a person I liked, like say a family member was like, "Oh, like let's tickle you," and maybe this is a family member I even deigned to like. In the moment that they're tickling me, I hate them forever. Like it's like I've switched that. You should burn for this. Is how I'm feeling in the moment. So I don't know that I could turn it off. Because I immediately don't like anybody that's tickling me.
Does anyone like being tickled? I know some people don't mind, but is anyone like, ooh, please tickle me? I don't. Is that?
Yeah, I like to be tickled, like especially on my hand, like right here and my back. Yeah.
Is that just getting scratched?
No, like, you know, because you can't use your nails. It's like this.
Was Claudia tickling Ty?
No, not like that. Just your, what is this, pads of your hand?
Yeah, was that what she was doing to his knee? Was she tickling
like
him?
If you go like this, I don't know, it feels good. Yeah.
Well, in case this couldn't be more awkward, she explains that she only is ticklish to people that she likes. And she is not ticklish if she doesn't like you. And she was very clearly just not ticklish to JM. And she's like, "Oh, but I do like you, JM. I don't know what my tickle wires just got crossed for some reason. I don't know what just happened because I do like you, but for some reason I didn't tickle. So I don't know. That was weird. Sorry about that."
She's so embarrassing. And again, wake up, Jam. She's literally telling, if someone told you they don't like you and then you're like, I'm going to believe your word that you told me you wouldn't put me up. I understand what he's trying to do, right? Like build relationships with her and, you know, trying to like get her to say something. But she literally straight up said, I don't like you.
So my question is, what was more awkward, this whole interaction or then the segue to JM being like, you know, I'm just ready for the ceremony to happen. And Santina saying, yeah, how do you feel about that? Knowing full well what she's about to do. That was more awkward to me personally.
Ruthless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't take somebody to Wendy's and backdoor them.
That's been my favorite thing you've said over and over because it constantly plays in my mind.
Wrong. It's not nice.
One last meal. It happens breaking to bread? Prisoners.
You're breaking bread. You're forming bonds.
No, I think it's more like your last meal before it's over for you.
In the game, I feel like
it's horrible.
Plumping them up with Wendy's before the slaughter.
A good foie gras.
And what's the point? Like, why? Plan your week better.
Because she's not a good player. That's why. You're using Kevin Brain. Kevin Brain.
Yeah, you gotta take the crown off on this one and then put the clown wig on to really understand what's going on, Kevin.
She really didn't want him to know about the back door. So in order to put him off the scent, she took him for a Wendy's breakfast and then did it blindsided.
I mean, you wanted a villain.
This is the thing for me. I feel like in week 1 especially, the blind side on your target as the HOH, there's nothing he can do at this point. It's not like he can win veto. There's no point in keeping this a secret from him anymore. It's week 1. And you're getting all of your information from like one source. You are the HOH. You should have the most information in the house. Why not just have a conversation with him about it where you're like, yeah, this thing that's about to happen, I'm going to do this to you. Because he can react in this moment or he can react after. It's not the same. It's all the same because nothing can change from this unless you think that he can somehow convince Ty to use the veto on him instead if he gets forewarning, which obviously is not going to happen. The point being, why are you playing coy when you should be gathering more information? You should be like, hey, listen, instead of waiting until after I nominate you to get you to spill your entire game to me, how about I just tell you, I've got people in my ear telling me that you should get nominated. I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. Here's why. What do you have to say about that? Dish all of your information. Worst case scenario, you get information from him that you can further dig his grave with. Best case scenario, you find out that you're being lied to and he had no intention of targeting you. And maybe you're just opening yourself up to being tricked. And I know that's the thing. That's what the Zachs of the world tell you. Oh, don't let him get in your head. Okay. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a player in this game, you need to be able to trust your own head, and you want as much information as possible. In my eyes, don't be playing coy for no reason. Get the information. It's week 1. You're HOH.
And that, I think, is what's specifically pissing me off about her, is that she is so, I don't know what the word is, insecure, down on herself, or has been, gaslit by Zach, whatever we want to say, that she isn't even trying to play her game. And she's telling Zach, you're my number 1, Ty is my number 2. And then Zach, to her face, is saying, yeah, I want to have a girl and a guy number 1. How does that not bother you? Like, that's so embarrassing. How can you let someone else play you like this and not have any agency when you're the HOH? And it's like she's acting all big and bad in the confessionals, and then when she comes out, she's like, Zach is such a good talker, and when I talk, I'm not good at it. Girl, get up.
I feel like it's a combination of both. She got lulled into a false sense of security with Zach, and the early stresses of it, because like we know the show, we know that this is one of the most important moments in the game for you, especially if you have the power, like Taran said, to be the one who is all the information. You have everything you need to map out your game. But for her, she was clearly stressed. Zach said, let me take care of it for you. You sit there and you get all the benefits of just not doing anything. And I think she took her foot off the gas and thought, oh, this actually feels kind of freeing. This kind of feels comfortable. I'm safe, and someone else is doing all this work for me. Cool. And then once Zach becomes someone she trusts, now she doesn't stop trusting him. Now, obviously, we've had some developments that are showing that crack a little bit, but for the first couple of days, I feel like she was just happy not to think about it anymore and just let someone else take care of it. And I think she doesn't want the confrontation with JM, because she's been told that JM's going to say this, that, whatever, be the most convincing person, say this, say that. So it's like, it's better if I don't say anything.
It's a really good skill in Big Brother, being able to have those conversations that make you uncomfortable. Because a lot of the time, it's not about manipulating or dancing around people. It's about talking something out and having that discussion. But people get afraid of it and then find a reason not to say the things that they want to say, which are straightforward and are sometimes the hardest things to get out of your mouth.
Did you have uncomfortable conversations in the house?
I do hate you.
Is that something that happened to you?
I had some.
I think he's gonna leave the podcast. Like, you're bullying.
The moment, I mean, I love uncomfortable conversations. Like hearing something like that in the house is like, this is the best. This is a blessing. Like, let's please.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So, of course, we see in the veto ceremony, Ty is going to use the veto on Anika, and JM goes up as the replacement nominee. And that's where we're at with this episode. It does not look great for JM here. Not looking great.
Yeah. Jam stormed out of the ceremony. I mean, the cards stacked against him, right? Everything he was worried about ends up happening, and he had no reason to worry about that because, again, the one person he made a deal with right before the HOH was Santina. So to sit there, mind's racing a million, not loving this for JM, but can Jam turn the tides? Could he? Don't know.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on the episode before we get into maybe a little spoilery? A little spoilery.
I'm just annoyed at Santina dragging the Asians like this. Like, this is so embarrassing for you. And I'm sorry to be the race girl, but I'm going to be for a second. And bear with me, everyone, because it's just, how can this constantly keep happening? And no one is almost like trying to fix it. And as in, have some agency yourselves. It feels like JM was the only one that was kind of at least trying to make some move. Anika is like, just, I don't even know where
he came in and said, I'm gonna wing it. She was like, I don't know what this is. We'll figure it out.
Only. Yeah. And I can't get it together. And then like this girl in the HOH room just shooting herself and everyone else that should work with you. It's just, I'm so tired of like, Asians being labeled as like smart, so they must be like sneaky and they must be this, they must be that. Like, get over yourselves, everyone, and let them play the game, but also stop casting people like this that are just embarrassing and are gonna get voted out. Okay, that's all. Anyway, sorry.
Well, it's not everyone. No, people don't all come into the game with a 1 out of 16 chance.
Yeah,
that's just a fact. Everybody is coming in from a starting point that's not just your race, but everything about you and all the things that people are going to assume. And so that's the thing about week 1 and about people making any kind of assumptions. Like, it's just not a 1 in 16 chance for everybody, and it's a wild game because you never know what's going to send you out the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we have for the episode. Of course, we will be back tomorrow night after the first eviction of Big Brother Canada 11. So stay tuned for that. Very fun podcast coming up tomorrow night. And I'm still, dropping these daily drop updates when they come. So make sure you're subscribed here on Rob's Podcast so that you'll get all of the content that you need. But now let's talk about what we do know. Let's get into some spoilers.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected and that protective action should be taken.
All right. Okay. Let's talk some spoilers. What do we know from the daily drops? Well, we know that JM, he went on the block. He had a conversation with Santina, the conversation that they should have had before he went on the block, where he explained to her, what are you talking about? I only ever wanted to work with you. And weirdly, it seems like that conversation actually kind of worked. And Santina has kind of realized that Zach kind of put this in her head, and maybe it was not the smartest move to do. And she had a conversation with Claudia, Shania, and Renee yesterday, but we found out today about how the women kind of need to get together and take out these dudes because they think they're running things. And she more explicitly realized that these guys controlled her HOH. She was the one that promised Dan and Anika safety, but now they're loyal to the guys because the guys have been the ones actually making the moves, and that they were just using her to make those moves. And it didn't seem like she was just blowing smoke either, because then she had a conversation with Zach and Anika both there. And Zach was very clearly, giving Anika the smoke about how JM, he's not trustworthy. He only talked to you when he was in danger, and she was regurgitating those lines. And Santino was like, I don't know. I feel like he's been fine. And Zach was like, nah, I've been hearing that he's been doing bad, negative things, saying all kinds of negative things. And Santina's like what negative things specifically? Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, he's just talking out of both sides of his mouth. You know what I mean? He's just doing bad things, okay? He's just doing the bad things, okay? It's just bad. Come on. And she was, she was giving him some attitude. She was giving him some, like, you are so full of it. So we have reason to believe that at least in this brief moment, her eyes have been opened. Now, people have done this before and then they go back. And one of the things she pointed out was that she felt like Zach was on top of Anika all day, and it could have just been that. It could have just been like, is he dumping me for a new, person, pawn, whatever. And if he comes back and he gives her more attention, who knows, right? But for right now, she seems to be seeing through the cloudy skies, and there was even talk of potentially keeping JM around from these women. The problem is that they need, they need some numbers. Between those 4 women, only 2 of them could vote, Claudia and Shania. And so they need 4 more votes, and that's going to be kind of tricky. So there is some movement to the idea that it's not completely, a done deal for JM, but it is definitely going to be a bit of a tricky one. Kevin, you were on the block week 1. You went through this. I don't think you needed to orchestrate a big vote flip against a back door against you or anything. But what have been your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I campaigned my ass off still, but it was pretty cut and dry. Like, first week HOH, respect them. I think it's too little, too late. This poor guy just got backdoored. Like, even if the HOH changes her mind at this point, it's just you've set the tone for the week. You've let everybody in on this. People know that he's the target. Like, you're going to burn a ton of bridges if you turn anything around. It's just too little, too late. I'm happy that they're waking up to the real powers in the house, but I don't actually think it's a good move to send anyone but JM out of the house right now, unfortunately.
See, if, the people that could potentially are seeing that there's this other side had some sort of a even small light connection to each other to all just be like, all right, let's just put our votes here and do it. I could see it flipping, but it is week 1, like Kevin said. The train has left the station, like Kevin said. And also, like you said in the daily today, Taran, it's like different pockets of people that need to all come together. And we're a day and a half away from the eviction as of the daily, right? So, or 2 days. But so I feel like there's not enough time. Everyone needs to come to the realization. And the most crucial thing is you need JM to probably do a lot of the legwork here, which I just don't think he's going to be able to, because like you said, he has the wrong reads of who he needs to be campaigning to right now. And that's the big error. So while hearing all this has been not a music to my ears, has been a snippet to my ears, because it's like a 30-second iTunes snippet, because it's not enough. It's not a whole song
it's
yet.
A ringtone.
Exactly. It's not a symphony. While it's been great, and I'm hopeful for moving forward, I do think, unfortunately, for this week, I'm not really thinking we're going to see JM turn the tide, but I would love to see this energy for next week. But also, as a Big Brother fan, I know that depending on who wins that HOH, this momentum could go away like that. So we'll have to see.
1, who wins HOH, and 2, who's the dead last candidate.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That could change everything.
Also, I have to say, I think the other side, in addition to everything, Santina just isn't that leader to lead the
Mhm.
troops, right? As the person we believe should be the locus of information, isn't then being like, all right, girls, I messed up. They got me, but they're not gonna get us moving forward. Here's what we do. Like, she is not that. Like, Big Daddy K is that. So when is it Big Daddy K's time to shine in the light? Because I think that's when this might happen, or Vanessa even as well. But Anika, Santina, like, flops, unfortunately.
I could see
Uh,
Renee doing something.
Yeah,
I mean,
true. But she
Yeah.
says it to their face. That's not helpful.
But it's fun.
I think Claudia seems to be the most sort of like rah-rah kind of person of the crew.
She's
but
fighting with a man over a damn sweater.
No, the man is fighting with her over the damn
It
sweater.
don't matter. They're both arguing. She's
It's
like,
an
talk to
entanglement.
me.
Another interesting thing that we got from the most recent drop was finally a little bit of insight into Daniel's game.
Yeah.
And he is definitely giving me the most Kevin vibes of the cast so far. He talked to Anika about how, you know, being safe right now and playing the middle right now is all well and good, but the problem is there isn't really a middle, and we're not in any real alliances. So we only have a limited amount of time to change that. And what we want is for the house to divide as long as we are not, like, you know, at the forefront of one of those sides, which is obviously, you know, Kevin, you are a catalyst for some of the division that happened in season 10 and let two sides sort of charge at each other, which is exactly what Daniel would like to do. But obviously, you know, I'd love to get your opinion on Daniel as a player. There's not a lot to judge from right now, but what have been your thoughts?
I mean, there's very little, but lie down and disappear week 1 and don't be a target. Check. Can you do it for a couple more weeks? Maybe. Because it's nice to see, based on this little that we have, that he can see the power structures in the house, or at least the outlines of them. But actually breaking them up is not easy. You need to find where that division is. You need to, like, pick your spots. So I'm excited. I don't think Daniel's giving Kevin vibes. I think he's giving Daniel Clark vibes, and I think he's gonna do something. I think he's just biding his time, waiting in the shadows, and watch out, because when things start to blow up, he'll be quite happy to join whoever's doing that or to lead it.
Yeah. There you go. So yeah, finally some interesting stuff, you know. We got a little bit of that ringtone, but then the somebody answered the phone and we were like, oh, did I actually like that, or was not sure yet. So we will see as things continue to progress. Hopefully we'll get another drop tomorrow morning and not tomorrow night after the episode. And we'll see if any progress has been made in the, you know, the campaign to potentially keep JM. I, like the panel here, do think it's not super likely at this point that it succeeds. But there is much more of a chance now than there was even just yesterday. So there's at least that. And on top of that, we are seeing some progress being made elsewhere regardless. So even if JM does leave, there's some hope here and there for the season between the resistance to the people running the game right now and the continued tension between the people who are currently running the game right now. So we will see where all of that goes. Any other thoughts, Kevin, on what's been happening in the house?
So I think it wasn't exactly the week 1 that a lot of people who are tuned in now necessarily would be like too fired up about, but I don't think that we're in for a steamroll. Like there are enough murmurs this week that I'm actually excited about the structures and dynamics of the house. I think there are some real characters in there, and I'm just I'm not giving out a stand card, but if you make me, I might, and I'm looking.
Ooh.
All right. Pooya, any thoughts? Any final thoughts?
No, I have to co-sign what Kevin's saying here, because it feels like the wheels are not on as tight as it may have looked like even 3 days ago. And that is enough of a glimmer of hope for me to think, okay, we could get some juicy bits this season. We could get some maybe fun moments, some memorable moments, because if it's very samey from the jump, it's going to be very hard, given the current structure of the content distribution we're getting, to keep that energy, keep the hype. And again, as I said in the draft, I'm saying it now, I'm going to be looking for all the silver linings. And today's daily was that silver lining I needed for some good things to come, hopefully. So I'm going to keep the fingers crossed and we'll move forward. I will say, Taran, I'm sorry for you if JM is the first boot, given that this is the first player from the draft for you leaving. However, if JM somehow stays, I will be very more than happy to take the sacrifice of Zabo going. It's fine by me. As long as we get a good season, do not care. That's all that I'm really trying to look for here. We'll see.
And we are addicts here. That's the second we get the tiniest hit of like good Big Brother, we're like, oh yeah, give us.
Yeah.
Got any more of that? Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're at whatever you want to give us is fine. That's fine. Yeah, just
It's us with our clown noses. I'm telling you, they'll give us crumbs and we're like, oh, calm masterpiece.
Sasha, any final thoughts?
I'm just praying that the girlies get it together. They wake up, because I have always liked this cast. I think this cast is like really funny, and production did what they did to this cast, and I won't forgive you for that. And I'm excited for the folks we haven't really seen much of. Big Daddy K, like, I just want her to narrate every episode, and Daniel as well. It's just give me all of them, and that is what will push me over. But we're still gonna watch with our clown noses on, so we can yell all we want, but we're gonna be here all the time talking about it.
That we will. And you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, all the time, watching these episodes live with you. I'll be live tomorrow night watching tomorrow night's episode. And then we'll be back here on the podcast talking about what we see in that very episode. So stay tuned for that. Again, we've got some more updates coming. The Stock Watch, if you're playing along, make sure you get your picks in before the episode tomorrow night. We've also just had a Survivor episode. I also stream those live on Twitch, so that you can come hang out during those. And I will have a Survivor Stock Watch podcast coming on Saturday with Amon. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. And that's about it. Check out the YouTube channel with some Among Us videos. Find me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran. You know the drill. Kevin, where can people find you?
I'm a celebrity in Albania, so everywhere there, every news media outlet, there.
Okay, hold on. We need to figure this, because this dropped on me tonight that people in the chat were like, "Oh, did you hear about Kevin? He's famous now." What is going on here?
Okay, so quick summary: Big Brother internationally, where there are a lot of fan votes in some countries, it is like a phenomenon. And not that these aren't successful shows in the US and Canada, but in like Brazil, they shut down and watch. So
yeah, Big Boss India is huge,
right?
Like huge.
It's like the level of giant is just ridiculous. So anyway, I didn't know much about Big Brother Albania, of which Big Brother VIP is going on, which is more artists and I guess like famous people. I don't really know. And long story short, I got a message on Friday being like, "Oh, this guy mentioned that you inspired him," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." This morning, I just made like a story. I got like a few followers from Albania, and anyway, I got picked up by a lot of news outlets. And my understanding is I'm now famous in Albania. A lot of people have offered to fly me out, but I've like a job and stuff. Like it's
well, hey. Maybe there's new opportunity in Albania.
Oh, I love my new Albanian friends. And anyway, Kevin Ted Jacobs on Twitter and Instagram, and my newsletter is in my pinned tweet. I write about Big Brother Canada, Survivor 44 Australia, and Survivor 44 and Survivor Australia. And I guess I'm gonna for sure write something about this weird day I had today.
You
I mean,
have
you
to.
know, Dan Zabo made a lot of money internationally. Let's do you have some DJing you can do, some music you can put out? Like, let's make this happen.
I want to say yes, but no. No, that's not. If I had to list my top 10 money making skills, music, and DJing would not be in there. That
I feel like we could remix this into a song.
I'm a bad boy.
I
I'm a
feel like we
bad
could make
boy.
this happen.
Well, why are you gonna have that sweater conversation on a beautiful winter baby night in the backyard?
I knew. I was waiting. You didn't bring that up. I was so sad.
Why are you ruining the weather?
The lovely
Anyway,
snow.
That's my.
In short, bless his heart.
That's what's going on over here.
All right. Pooya, what about you?
People can find me on Twitter at Pooyaism. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pooya. And I've started doing an exclusive YouTube-only playthrough content over there, youtube.com/Pooyaism for that. You can check it out. First episode is out right now. 90 Day Fiance. I had Kirsten McInnes on with me this week. I believe that podcast will go live tonight. So you can find that over there. And then we'll be recording Masked Singer later this weekend with Liana. That's going to be a fun time as well. And before I forget, of course, Bel Air with the lovely Chappelle. We're having a fun time recording this season. It's been a good season so far. You can find that over on Post Show Recaps.
All right. And Sasha?
Yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at funsize_04 and weekly with Kirsten McInnes over on RHAP has a podcast /Mess Magnets, where we talk everything mess, everything pop culture, vibes only. Come hang out, have fun with us. We just dropped last week the Vanderpump Rules mess. So if you're still seeing that stuff and want to know why, we have a PowerPoint for you. And this week we'll be talking Oscars, and I'll go on another rant. Yay. So check all of that out. It'll be dropping soon.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. Hopefully you have plenty of sweaters to protect you from all the tickling, and hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you all so much again for joining us. We'll see you next time.